Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover here today. So before we dive into it, if you end up enjoying the video, be sure to leave it a like. And if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button as well. So today is the day. The PS5 Pro is officially out. And so I'm not sure how many of you already received yours and are already playing it, but I'm waiting for my delivery to arrive at some point today. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing. But I want to go over a couple of more topics here regarding the PS5 Pro. One of those topics has to do with the storage of the PS5 Pro. I came across this article from PlayStation Lifestyle, and it says PS5 Pro solves one of the base PS5's biggest storage complaints. And it says here PS5 Pro reviews are out, and critics are reporting that the console resolves one of the PS5's biggest issues. The PS5 Pro comes with a 2TB SSD, of which players have access to a whopping 1.89 terabytes, or just 1.9. And the reason why that's significant is because with the base PS5, it shipped with only 825 gigabytes of storage with the SSD, but it was actually reduced to 667 gigabytes, which some people were pretty annoyed about. So it was, overall like a lot less storage than you would have thought. And so with the 2TB SSD, it's good to know that pretty much like 90% of it, right, is going to be able to be used, and there's not like some massive chunk being dedicated to something else. So I just wanted to kind of put that out there. But continuing to talk about the PS5 Pro, being reported by Push Square, it says the PS5 Pro is out today, and if you'd like to put Sony's new machine through its paces, it sounds like Gran Turismo 7 might be the game. Developer Polyphony Digital appears to have a handle on that extra horsepower. GT7 runs at a native 4K 120 FPS on the PS5 Pro, and that's without the all-important enhanced patch required. So, kind of shocking there. The unpatched version of GT7 can run at native 4K 120 FPS. And this comes from Digital Foundry. They're the ones that were talking about this. But we do know that GT7 apparently is going to offer an 8K 60 FPS mode as well with the PS5 Pro Enhanced patch. I don't know how many people are really going to be able to appreciate something like that, but it's just kind of a flex, I guess, from Polyphony Digital. They're like, here you go, here's an 8K 60 FPS mode for GT7. But continuing to talk about the PS5 Pro, we have another game confirmed to be PS5 Pro Enhanced that a lot of people were really curious about, that being Silent Hill 2 Remake. It was confirmed on the official PlayStation Store listing, and so it's worth noting it doesn't say when the patch is going to go live and what exactly it's going to offer. So we need to keep that in mind. It is confirmed to be PS5 Pro Enhanced, but whether or not it's going to be like available to play on PS5 Pro with the enhancements day one today, or we're going to have to wait a couple weeks, remains to be seen. But it's a game that many of us were wondering if it was going to end up getting Pro supported, because Konami did announce that Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta is going to be enhanced on the PS5 Pro. But the final PS5 Pro topic is just letting you know that apparently another game here is going to offer 8K support on the PS5 Pro, that being No Man's Sky. This was just confirmed. They're obviously going to have a 4K 60 mode, and No Man's Sky is a game that is taking advantage of the Pro. But if you're somebody out there who has an 8K screen, there are seemingly a couple of games here. What's really ironic, and I want to put this out here, is Sony shipped the base PS5 with the 8K logo on the box and ended up removing it because pretty much nothing was 8K. There was, I think, technically one game that ran at 8K, but pretty much nothing was 8K. But here we are with the PS5 Pro, and there are multiple titles day one that can run at 8K, and they actually still didn't put 8K on the box. They decided to keep it off. Pretty funny how that works. But moving on to the next topic, this is a very, very interesting one that came out of nowhere. This is being reported by Automaton, and they say Death Stranding Director's Cut Xbox Series X and S version announced. Distribution begins immediately, and the Death Stranding IP will now be owned by Kojima Productions from now on. Kojima Productions and 505 Games announced that Xbox Series X and S and PC through the Microsoft Store is getting Death Stranding Director's Cut. It's out today, so you can literally buy it on Xbox or the Windows Store today. And so what's worth noting here is it says Kojima Productions announced that the IP for this work will now belong to the studio. They said that they will continue to connect more fans around the world in various forms of entertainment. Hideo Kojima's comments on the release of the Xbox Series X and S version are as follows. We are finally able to deliver Death Stranding to Xbox users. Thank you to all the fans who have continued to connect us up to this point, and to all the Xbox users who have continued to wait. Kojima Productions' Death Stranding will continue to connect more game fans around the world, so please look forward to it. And so this is quite surprising because, well, the big thing here is that Kojima Productions now owns the Death Stranding IP, which means Sony sold the IP to Kojima Productions. And now Kojima has free reign on what he wants to do. And clearly, the first thing he wanted to do is put it on Xbox, which I guess makes sense. But, you're probably going to see people getting a little bit confused here where they're like, oh, well, I guess Sony's becoming a third-party publisher too. Well, it's not being published by Sony. Sony seems to not have any interest whatsoever in publishing games on Xbox. And that's important to understand. The only games that Sony technically publishes on Xbox, well, really right now, is MLB The Show. And that's because they have to, or they would lose the license. But outside of that, like, they're not publishing this on Xbox. This is 505 Games. But what I find most interesting, and this to me is the key takeaway, is they actually were willing to sell the Death Stranding IP to Kojima. You would have, I don't know, man, this is not how Sony normally operates. They're doing things differently, right? Sony is kind of infamous for being a publisher that when you sign an exclusivity deal with them, they own the IP and they own it forever. They're never going to relinquish it. We're seeing them do the opposite here, where they're like, yeah, sure, here you go, Kojima. Obviously, they're going to make some money from it. They're not just going to give it to him. At least that's the assumption. But you do also have to wonder what this means for Death Stranding 2. My assumption is that Death Stranding 2 does have an exclusivity agreement, contractually speaking. So I don't imagine DS2 is going to launch like on the Xbox day one or anything like that. But I think what is clear is that once that contract is up, you will see Death Stranding 2 make its way to every other platform, because that's clearly what Kojima wants to do. But yeah, it also makes you wonder what's going to go on with Fizzent as well, right? So I'm pretty sure Kojima does own that already. I think that when Sony struck that deal for Fizzent with Kojima, that was probably one of the things he basically demanded, where it's like, listen, we want to own the IP. We don't want you to own the IP. But there you go. Something quite surprising. It'll be interesting to see how it does on Xbox, if, the fan base ends up picking it up or not. But we do have one final topic here, which is a small, but I would say pretty important update on GTA 6. Recently, Take-Two Interactive held their earnings, and obviously one of the things that they had to talk about was GTA 6 and what's going on. And the big important takeaway here is that Take-Two Interactive reaffirmed their launch window for the game being fall 2025. No delays. They're not saying they're anticipating any delays. They're still doubling and tripling down on the fall 2025 launch window. Doesn't mean delays couldn't happen as we get closer to that. But as of right now, development seems to be, going smoothly enough to where they feel confident telling investors this. And, yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw this, this small update out there, because I think at this point we're all waiting to see trailer 2 for GTA 6, which I would assume we'll see before the end of the year. But there you go. It's on track. So guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.